So you're looking at the Ubiquiti AmpliFi HD Mesh Wi-Fi system, a sleek router promising to blanket your entire home in flawless, high-speed internet. But here's what surprised me. After months of testing, I found a series of frustrating problems that almost nobody talks about online. Therefore, before you spend nearly $200 on this popular mesh kit, you need to hear this honest breakdown. For the best price, click the link in the description. Let's be clear, the AmpliFi HD is not a terrible product. In fact, for many people, it will be a massive upgrade from an old, single router. But this review is for the person who researches deeply, who wants to know the trade-offs, the hidden quirks, and whether this is truly the best value for your smart home. Therefore, stick around because we're diving into the setup, the performance, the infamous touchscreen, and the app controls that might just drive you a little crazy. Act 1. The hook and the promise. Right out of the box, the AmpliFi HD feels premium. The router itself has this cool, minimalist cube design with a touchscreen display. It looks like a gadget from a sci-fi movie, not a boring plastic box you hide behind the TV. The two mesh points are these elegant little plugs with adjustable antennas. Setup is, as advertised, incredibly easy. You download the AmpliFi app, plug in the router to your modem, plug in the mesh points around your house, and you're basically done in 5 minutes. The app walks you through everything, and soon you have one seamless network name. For someone terrified of networking, this is a dream. But here's the first interjection. That blissful simplicity comes at a cost. Therefore, the very thing that makes it easy for beginners is what limits power users. Let's talk coverage. Ubiquiti claims up to 10,000 square feet with this kit. Now, in my 2800 SQ-FT home with standard drywall, the coverage was excellent. Dead zones vanished. Streaming 4K on multiple TVs while browsing on phones was smooth. The system uses 802.11 AC Wave 2 technology, and the throughput is solid for typical home use, gaming, video calls, the whole deal. But is it the fastest mesh system on the market for the price? Therefore, the answer is a clear no. In speed tests, especially on the backhaul connection between the router and the mesh points, newer Wi-Fi 6 systems at a similar price point consistently outperform it. If raw maximum possible speed is your only god, this isn't your altar. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, or rather, the screen on the router. That touchscreen display. It shows cool info like time, upload-download speeds, and connected devices. It's a great party trick, but here's the contrarian snapback. It's also a pointless gimmick that likely adds to the cost. You will check it exactly twice, once when you set it up and think neat, and then never again because all meaningful control is in the app. Therefore, you're partly paying for a tiny LCD that your phone does better. It's like buying a car because it has a tiny umbrella in the door, charming but not why you drive. Act 2. The deep dive into the problems. This is where the honest review part earns its keep. The first major problem is the app. While simple, it's surprisingly barebones and feels oddly sluggish. Want to set up a basic guest network with a schedule? You can. Want to dive into advanced settings like separate SSIDs for your 2.4 GHz and 5 GHz bands, adjust channel widths, or set up a VPN client on the router? Therefore, you're out of luck. The app offers a fraction of the control you'd get from even a mid-tier traditional router. It's the networking equivalent of only being allowed to use the big, colorful blocks. Problem number 2 is the mesh points themselves. They work, but their design has a flaw. Those adjustable antennas. To get the best signal, you're supposed to have them upright. But they plug directly into a wall outlet, which means they often end up behind furniture or in a position where the antenna is sideways, hurting performance. You need the perfect, unobstructed outlet, a luxury not every room has. It's like having a sports car that only works on perfectly smooth glass roads. Therefore, optimal placement can be a frustrating game of interior design compromise. Parental controls are another sore point. You can create profiles for family members and pause the internet, which is great. But the scheduling features are inflexible, and there's no content filtering or category-based blocking. For serious parental control, you'll be disappointed. It's basically a digital on-off switch, not a nuanced tool. Finally, let's talk about the price and ecosystem. At around $194, it's sitting in a very competitive bracket. But here's the kicker. This is an older system now. Ubiquiti has newer models like the AmpliFi Alien, which is fantastic but costs more. The HD feels like it's in a weird spot, too expensive to be a budget pick, but not advanced enough to be a top-tier pick. Therefore, you're buying into a platform that the company itself seems to be slowly moving past. It's like buying the last year's flagship phone at a small discount. You get a good device, but with that nagging feeling of impending obsolescence. Act 3. The resolution and who should buy it. After all that, is there a positive note? Absolutely. Therefore, let's reframe all these problems as trade-offs for a very specific person. You should buy the Ubiquiti AmpliFi HD if you have a large, multi-story home with Wi-Fi dead zones that need to die. You value aesthetics and want a router that doesn't look like a robotic spider. You are not a networking guru, and the phrase "co-s settings" makes you want to take a nap. You have a mix of devices for streaming, browsing, and working from home, but you're not trying to win an esports tournament over Wi-Fi. You want a set-it-and-forget-it system that just works for years without constant tinkering. For that person, the AmpliFi HD is a brilliant, reliable solution. The problems I listed are only problems if you need those advanced features. If you don't, they're non-issues. Think of it this way. Most people don't need a full professional kitchen. They need a reliable oven, a good stove, and a microwave that doesn't beep too loudly. The AmpliFi HD is that dependable kitchen. It might not have a sous vide machine or a molecular gastronomy kit, but it makes a great pizza and boils pasta perfectly every single time. Therefore, my final verdict isn't don't buy it. It's buy it with the right expectations. If your priority is dead simple setup, gorgeous design, and solid whole home coverage without headaches, this system delivers in spades. The speed is sufficient for 99% of households, and the reliability of Ubiquiti's core networking tech is unquestionably solid. It banishes dead zones effectively, and that, for most buyers, is the single most important job. So while I've highlighted its limitations, I can't deny its core competency. It does the main job very, very well. Therefore, if you've been nodding along, knowing you fit that profile, you will likely be thrilled with it. For the best price on Amazon and to check the latest deals, click the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.